As I told you before, the machines starting from the 16 heavy duty and all the way through the 37-inch are basically the same machine. What I mean by that is that, of course, the table is larger, the flywheel is larger, the resaw capacity is different, but basically the construction of the machine is the same, just scaled differently. I don't know how it shows. I hope well, but this is a very beautifully made machine. The fit and finish is superb. Both the white and the dark gray paint is heavy powder coated, and it is just really a joy to look at. If we start from the top here, then you can see the first thing we meet here is a little micro switch. This micro switch is connected to the upper door, and the upper door and the lower doors are also connected. It's a safety switch. When I open the door, as I do like this, the machine shuts off. And that also means that if the door was open like now and I tried to turn it on, I couldn't do that. Inside the door we find the upper flywheel. Again, you can see it's a beautiful cast iron wheel, completely balanced, and you cannot see that, but the rubber is properly adhered to the cast iron wheel. It is not a snap-on tire. The bearings are sealed. They are the highest quality SKF bearings. I want to take off the upper flywheel so that I can show you the mechanism behind. I often refer to this mechanism as the heart of the bandsaw. This is really important because this mechanism actually does two things. First here, it tensions the blade, and the handle that you use for that is right here. The tensioning handle makes it go up or makes it go down. And then it also has the other action, which is that it can track the blade on the flywheel. As you know, the blades should track in the center of the flywheels. To do that second adjustment, I have to go on the back side. Over there, I'll find a knob and a lock handle. I unlock the lock handle and I loosen the knob, and that will make the blade come forward, or I tighten the knob, and that will make the blade go backwards on the flywheel. Once I'm done, I'll lock the handle again, and the adjustment is set. Now let me go get my tools so I can take off the flywheel and show you what's behind there. Now we can really see the system behind the flywheel. You can see here, this is the shaft from the flywheel. It's heavy duty, it's 30 millimeter. It's held on into the casting by this bolt back here. And you can also see here the two-piece cast iron system. You see the piece inside the other one. The outside piece is the one that pivots. So it is hinged onto the machine with these two big bolts here. One of the sides here is also adjustable. And then the inside piece slides in a groove inside the outside casting, just like this, and that's where the tensioning is attached to. The thread in here is, the threaded rod in here is a very special Acme thread. And we have a bronze coating on the Acme thread so that it slides really easy. It's just a really nice feature. This is a good time to talk about the rack and pinion adjustment of the upper guide. To show you this, I'll walk over here and I can show you how this system works. We have here a lock handle that we unlock, and then here with this handle back here we can adjust the upper guide post up and down to be right above the piece of wood you want to cut. This is a very important part of the machine, as the guides, upper guides, of course, are the ones that are making sure that your blade is cutting completely straight. This cable here is part of the tensioning mechanism or tensioning gauge. All these machines come with a really nice tensioning gauge, which you see just here. The cable goes from the gauge up through here and goes down into this mechanism. You can't see it here, but we are actually measuring the compression of the spring which is inside of here. It makes it really easy to change blades and go back to a tension that you really like for a certain blade. You read here a number. Right now it's at 0 because there is no pressure on. If you put a 1-inch blade on, you go here to where it says 1 inch, and across from that you can see it says 25, which is 25 millimeters. So when you get to 25 in this window, you have probably tensioned a 1-inch blade. Really easy. Of course, the most important part about this whole system is the guides. This is one of the really important part of the bandsaw, and this is a part that we are very proud of. We have designed this ourselves, and there are patents on it, and we have 2 patents pending also. I'll talk to you about these guides in detail a little bit later. The miter gauge slot, that's a standard 3/4 inches wide by 3/8 inches deep, standard US size. Here you'll find a little pin which you can pull out. This is quite an important feature because it ensures that the table on the left and the right side of the slot is exactly the same height. Here's the throat plate, which is a nice, big, deep, solid piece of plastic. On the bottom here, it sits on 4 leveling bolts. You can, when you get the machine, you can put it down like this, sand it flush, and it will be completely level with your table. Another really nice feature is the way that we tilt the table. We've made that really easy. We have another exclusive for us, which is a rack and pinion tilt system. There's a handle back here that you loosen. Then there's another handle here that we can turn, and then we can get the table to wherever we want it very, very accurately. See, I can do this with one hand. Once I am where I want to be, I lock it with the other handle, and I'm ready to do my cutting. This rack and pinion trunnion will go from -5 to +45 degrees. Now I can turn it back to 90 degrees, then lock the handle like that. And I can go talk about another really nice feature, which is the fence. This fence, as you can see, is very nice and tall. It's 6 inches high. However, sometimes those 6 inches can be in your way, and you would like the fence to be much lower. If you were cutting a thin piece of wood, this would actually be a little bit dangerous. then it's nice that we have the low position. I'll show you that. Here, when I loosen this handle, you can see I can adjust this fence with one finger. This is due to this center ground shaft, so it's extremely accurate. And this casting that rides on the solid steel bar there is, of course, also has a very precision hole in it, so there's no slop in the fence. I can go where I want it to go and tighten it. Now I'll show you how to make the fence a ½ inch tall. We loosen these two bolts here, just like that. Slide the fence out, and there's another slot here. Slide it right in, just like this. Here, and retighten it. And now the fence is only a ½ inch tall. This is really nice. You can get your hands by there, or your fingers by, or your push sticks. Now let's go underneath the table. And here we find the lower guides. They are identical to the guides we have up here. But these also have a very nice feature, which is that they can be adjusted all the way to right up underneath the table, so that they are as close as possible to the wood you're working on. The lower flywheel is basically the same as the upper flywheel. However, the pulley for the motor belt is directly machined into the casting. Here we have a brush, which is here to keep sawdust off the nice rubber. Over here we have the foot brake, and that has another nice feature about it. It has a micro switch attached to it. This is nice because this means that when you push the foot brake, you don't have to reach for the stop button over here. It automatically cuts off the motor. That's really safe, because oftentimes you're working the bandsaw from over here and you don't have to reach over there. It just stops just like that.